A day after the events that occurred at Lois Lane's house and her recently new relationship with Jessica, nothing relevant happened, such as crimes and assaults in the city that day. What was a global trend was that crime in Gotham City dropped 10% in just one night, undoubtedly a great event for a city like Gotham. Another thing that benefited Izuku was his recent business with Lois. The comic inspired by her life in the first year of UA was already in progress, and they already had the first 2 comics to publish. It turns out that Lois was very good when it came to those things, practically a multitasker. Adding to the fact that Deku's signed merchandise sold like hotcakes, the freckled man now had $100,000 on hand and about $6,000 for his mother. Inko got a job at a clothing store that was very popular among young teenagers after Inko's arrival and her advice on love. But on this day something very strange also happened for Izuku Eri, because Dinah or Black Canary began to try to be closer to them. It's not that Izuku doesn't like the blonde, but it felt like the blonde wanted to treat him like a son. "Izuku, dinner is ready, I'll be waiting for you at the table," said Dinah, entering the freckled man's room. Thank you, Miss Lance," said Izuku, finishing catching up on his studies. The blonde put a lot of effort into dinner because it was a task assigned by Inko. Midoriya would be late and she didn't want to leave her son and granddaughter without food, and she never liked reheated food. "Your dinner was very good, Dinah," Inko praised with a smile, making the blonde blush. Thank you, it's the first time I've cooked for so many people," said Dinah, watching Eri eat her spaghetti. "Try not to get dirty, Eri," Izuku said to the white-haired girl who had sauce on her cheeks. "Okay, Dad," Eri replied, wiping her face with her napkin. "Do you want more juice, Eri?" Inko asked, having a claw of apple juice that the little girl couldn't deny. The blonde watched everything with a smile on her face. "It feels like, as if I were part of this family," she thought, and then saw Inko, who gave her a smile, blushing again. "Tomorrow you're going to school again, aren't you, baby?" Inko asked her son, who nodded. "I already have everything ready, even Donna said she would look for me so we could go together," said Izuku. "So the girls stopped giving you the silent treatment," Inko said, letting out a small laugh. Well, according to Kara, yesterday she gave up because she couldn't appeal and the others were in the same situation," she replied, scratching her cheek. "Teenagers are weird," said Eri. "Lucky me, I still have a long way to go before I'm one." "But when you are, you'll still be cute," Inko said, playfully pinching Eri's cheek. Dinner passed between laughter and anecdotes of Inko's and Eri's day. The little girl said that Lena gave her a pretty white dress. Izuku and his mother didn't see anything strange in that, but Dinah wasn't so sure what friendship Lena wanted with Eri. Dinah said that her ex-partner Arrow became a trend on social media due to a photo where she left a motel without clothes. Apparently the woman accompanied him to the establishment, stole everything from him, and left him outside. Dinah had never laughed so much in her life as she did today. Late at night, and Izuku was in his bed reading a book about mind control over the body, given by Z's father, with the idea that, thanks to that, he could master one for all. "This is too complex, even if my mind has total control of my body, it takes many years of experience," he said, closing the book and turning off his night lamp. Another new day in Metropolis, after a break from classes at Metropolis High School after the events caused by the Scarecrow. "I still can't believe they're going after Izuku," said a jealous Donna, walking with Izuku and also through the theater of their couples. "He's our boyfriend too, we have the same right to go to school with him as you do," Z said. "Also remember that you can't have it all to yourself without first telling the rest of us," said Kara. "One of the rules imposed by them, such as number 5, each one has the right to have a date, which was taken by Jessica for tomorrow. Speaking of which, I also want Izuku to introduce himself to my moms as my boyfriend," Jessica said, and the others looked at the Latina. "Don't look at me like that. Your parents know that Izuku is with you because mine don't?" "Mine don't know either, I have no idea how they'll take it," said Kara. "My father took it very clearly at first, he almost threw a fireball at Izuku, but he calmed down," said Z. "My mother made him fight my 2 aunts, the strongest Amazons, to prove if he is worthy," Donna said. Already at school, Izuku and the girls met the others in the cafeteria, seeing Carol with a Deku jacket for women. "Hello girls," Jessica greeted happily. "Hello." The others greeted her too. "Sorry for leaving without you, Megan. I was in a bit of a hurry and didn't want to rush you," Z said to the Martian. "Don't worry, I don't mind, but next time you could tell me a day in advance," Megan said. Me, that Carol jacket?" Izuku asked, a little surprised. He knew there was merchandise of his, but not that his friend bought one. "Lois is selling them, She also sells some signed products, but why do I want the signature if I have the original Deku with me, said Carol, blushing to Izuku. Besides, she is very pretty, I like her. She may be cute and all, but when will they release our merchandise? Barbara asked, eating her last burrito. To be honest, only Megan, Carol, and Karen would have original merchandise, Kara said. And even though Megan is a Martian, she has a different style than her uncle and is more marketable because she's cute. The rest of us are just younger versions of other heroes. While the others began to think about what Kara had said, some hands approached Barbara's ribs, tickling them. Ha 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 ha, what ha ha h happens? Ha 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 ha, she laughed, and the others saw a blonde girl with blue and red pigtails. Babs, how nice to see you again, greeted the blonde, separating herself a little from Barbara. Harleen. Friend, Barbara shouted excitedly. Guys, let me introduce you to my goth BFF, Harleen Quinzel. Nice to meet you guys, I greeted with a smile and in a playful tone. It's a pleasure to meet you. Donna offered her friendly hand. I'm Donna. The pleasure is mine. Girl Harleen gave her hand, but as she did so, Donna received a shock. Ha 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 ha, a classic, showing in the palm of her hand a shock button. The others saw this, somewhat alarmed, while Barbara laughed next to Harleen. Now that I think about it, what are you doing here, friend? Barbara asked. Well, I signed up for this school so we can spend time together like before, said Harleen. That's wonderful, said Barbara. Is she your friend from Gothic, not Barbarian? Izuku asked. That's right, Izuku. She and I used to be inseparable. We did everything together, Barbara said, getting lost in her monologue. Harleen looked at Izuku with a frown. Is he Izuku? Thought Harleen. Since her friend Barbara moved from Goth, Harleen felt alone for a while, and even though she talked to her through video calls, it wasn't the same. But since she called Barbara lately, she only talked about her new friend Izuku, that Izuku was great, that he helped her with this and that. Barbara now only talked about him, and that made her jealous. This boy wants to steal her best friend. Is this broccoli hair Izuku? Thought Harleen, seeing Izuku listening to Barbara's monologue. Hey Babs, why don't we go out for a while like before, just you and me? That's a great idea, Harleen, said Barbara. See you later, guys. Barbara came out with Harleen hugging each other's shoulders while they sang something about being best friends. That was definitely something. Z began, breaking the silence. Weird? Unusual? Because it was, Carol said. That girl seems to be very playful, said Karen. We shouldn't judge Harleen, she's Barbara's friend and she's our friend, Donna said. But what about the crash you had? Asked Kara. It was just a joke, I see similar things on those comedy shows on TV, Megan said. Well girls, I have to look for a book in the library, said Izuku, saying goodbye to the others. Is it okay if we leave him alone? Kara asked in a whisper to the other couples of the green-haired man. I trust he won't do anything wrong, Donna said, and Z looked at her with a raised eyebrow. Well, I don't think he's the type to flirt with other girls, Jessica said. I can't even find the book about plants, Izuku said in a whisper, looking at the different shelves in the botany section. The green-haired boy got tired of looking for it and decided to ask the librarian where it was. The old lady just told him that someone already had the last copy. So Izuku looked through the shelves to see if he could find a similar one, but then he saw a red-haired girl with the book he was looking for on her lap while she had a small pot with a plant in it. I never noticed the amount of plants in this part of the library, Izuku thought. The red-haired girl saw Izuku and frowned slightly. What's a boy doing here? Well, I'm in school now, thought the redhead, he has green hair and his clothes are green too. Excuse me, Izuku started a conversation with the girl. By chance have you finished that book? The girl saw Izuku and then the book and gave it to him. What strange man isn't attracted to me? She thought. Since the girl had her powers, she could not help but notice that the opposite sex felt much more attracted to her, even making men fall in love with her. Thanks, I was looking for it so I could study before class, said Izuku. Studying before class? Does anyone really do that? The girl asked. Do you like plants? Plants? I like them and they are very important for life on the planet, said the green-haired man, but I think I like the aesthetic aspect better, everything looks better with plants around. That's what I think too, said the girl. I'm Pamela Isley, just call me Pam. I'm Izuku Midoriya, he introduced himself with a bow. Maybe we'll be friends, Izuku, Pam said, starting to walk out of the library. Pamela Isley, huh? Asked a voice from behind a shelf, scaring Izuku. I didn't scare you, Izuku. I just came to see you. Lois came out of the shelf with an envelope. Lois, you weren't spying on me, right? Izuku asked, and Lois looked away with a nervous smile. So, what's in the envelope? Oh? This is nothing important, just something that will make us famous, he said, forgetting that they were in a quiet place. What thing? Izuku received the envelope and opened it, finding a contract and some acceptance papers. They agreed to publish the comic. Isn't it amazing? Said Lois. How did you do it so fast? You just started the day before yesterday. Izuku said, surprised. To be honest, I didn't sleep those days while making the comic, and thanks to some of my dad's contacts, it made the task of being accepted easier, said Lois. Cough cough. The librarian got tired of the racket and came to get Izuku and Lois out. Izuku was in his biology class with Kara and Jessica, nothing strange. Except that the vast majority of boys were flattering a brunette girl with short hair and couldn't stop looking at her. The girl was showing off her jewelry to others under the jealous gaze of the girls and the crush of the boys. Men are really weak, said Kara, and Jessica supported her. What? Asked an offended Izuku. Oh? Savior Izuku, you're a sweetheart, Jessica said with a nervous smile, worried about offending Izuku, categorizing him with the other men. You're unique, that's why I love you. You know, nerd, if you were like the others I wouldn't even give you a chance, luckily it's you and I love that, said Kara. Gee girls, Izuku blushed and hid his face behind his notebook. Even so, what's that girl's name? I've never seen her before? Said Kara, seeing the brunette caressing a boy's chin. This is Selena Kyle, the new super sexy goth student, Hal said behind Izuku, surprising him. What are you doing here, Hal? I thought you were licking that girl's floor? Jessica asked. I would never fall so low for a woman, who do you think I am? He said, puffing out his chest with pride, not noticing the mark on his cheek from a slap. A lot of new girls came, all of them gothic. They're all super pretty and have their thing, but none of them can handle Hal. Hal can't handle Hal, Jessica said. Goth girls, huh? Izuku said. At Metropolis High School, things couldn't be better. Students in their classes and in the hallways, athletes training, teachers teaching, and the newest addition, 3 girls who have only been here less than a day and are already popular. The 3 girls who arrived from goth class caught the attention of the students. Harleen Quinzel is a joking and lively girl, and although she has only spent time with Barbara, it does not make the other students see her with interest, a body that at first glance is somewhat flat. The girl also showed herself to be very flexible and athletic, like in gymnastics where she put her 2 legs behind her head, leaving the boys with fantasies. Pamela Isley is a quiet girl who prefers to read than talk to others, but that doesn't hide her beauty. Many boys tried to flirt with her, but their egos were hurt when they were ignored, and others, like Hal, who cornered her against a wall, ended up with a slap in the face. And finally Selena Kyle, she is sexy and knows how to take advantage of it. She is not even in her 3rd class and she already has most of the boys as her personal servants. It's weird that 3 new girls arrived in the middle of the school year, said Karen, sitting in the stands next to the other Izuku. I'm happy that Harleen is here with me again, Barbara said excitedly. But it's even weirder that all 3 of them are gothic and it seems like they know each other, said Carol. What do you say when school's over we go to Dulce Justicia? Z asked. I'm craving some good chocolate. I would love to go with you but I have to pick up Eri from school this time, said Izuku. If you want, I can accompany you? Said Kara. I wouldn't mind spending time with the little one. Kara really wanted to pick up Eri with Izuku. She had planned for Eri to see her as a mother, and going to pick her up with her father would be perfect. We can even stop by something on the way home, Kara said. Donna, Z and Jessica felt a little jealous for not thinking about that, but one of the rules imposed is that if one goes to pick up Eri, she will go alone unless Izuku says otherwise. Sure, why not? Said Izuku. How jealous. Can I go with you too? Asked Carol with sad kitten eyes. I'm sure you can too, Izuku replied without seeing the twitch in Kara's eyebrow. After school the trio of Izuku, Kara and Carol went to look for Eri at her school. On the way to school, the white-haired girl, Kara, kept looking angrily at Carol, who didn't notice anything. She had also planned to spend some time as a couple with Izuku, and with the brunette present she couldn't do anything. And if one of these days we go shopping with Eri, I want to get a cute dress for my favorite girl, Carol said to Izuku, who just nodded with a smile. So, what's Inko doing that she couldn't look for Eri today? Asked Kara, trying to get Carol to stop making plans with her boyfriend. Well, My mother went with Miss Lance to go shopping for the pantry, Izuku replied. Miss Lance has become very close to Inko, Carol said. Now that you mention it, I think it's true, Izuku said. In a supermarket, Midoriya's mother was shopping with the blonde. Let's see, we're missing the potatoes, the ground beef, the breadcrumbs and eggs, said Inko, thinking about the missing foods on her list, holding a basket in her arms. She looks so cute, thought Dinah with a slight blush seeing the green-haired girl murmuring. I think they are very good friends, said Izuku. Already in elementary school the boys encountered an Eri being surrounded by a group of children. Here is this pretty flower, Eri, said one of the children. No, better accept this chocolate, it's delicious, said another with a chocolate bar in hand. So other children had gifts for a nervous Eri who didn't know what to do. Eri is so popular with the kids, said a girl watching the situation. Poor Eri, children are dirty and stupid, said another. I'm jealous of her, she gets so much attention, said another girl. Aw, Eri is popular, well she is a cutie, it would be weird if she wasn't, said Carol. How dare those kids flirt with little Eri? She's still too young for a boyfriend, Kara said, her mother jealous. Calm down Izuku, calm down, they're just kids, you can't do anything to them, the green-haired boy thought to himself while on the outside he seemed calm. Little Eri tried to say no, but it was impossible with these children. Eri saw that her father and two of the girls came for her. I'm telling you guys, I have to go, they've already come for me, said Eri, nervously saying goodbye, running towards Izuku. Eri my love, how are you? Carol asked the albino. Very well, but those children are very insistent, said Eri with a pout. I know, no, when we have time I will teach you how to get rid of those kinds of children forever so you can be calm, said Carol. What's wrong with Dad and Kara? Asked Eri, seeing her father static and Kara muttering things about how he's still very young and not leaving yet. Leave them alone, are we going? Said Carol, holding the little girl's hand. Sure. Eri started walking taking Carol's hand. Eh? Are we leaving? Izuku and Kara asked, coming out of their thoughts and following Carol and Eri. Izuku and Eri walked hand in hand through the streets of the city with Carol and Kara. The blonde wanted to also take Eri's hand to look like a nice family with Izuku, but every time she tried to do it she backed away with some shame. Carol noticed that and found it strange but preferred not to comment on anything. Already in Izuku's apartment, they met Inko and Dinah, who looked as if they had barely returned. Oh? How's school going, guys? Inko asked, welcoming the others with a smile. I did well, Mom, but what happened to Miss Lance? Izuku asked, seeing Dinah lying on the couch unconscious with a blush. I don't know, I just thanked her for accompanying me and she threw herself down, she must be very tired, explained Inko. The truth is that when Inko thanked Dinah she did it with a kiss on the cheek, which was too much for the blonde. It seems to me that Miss Lance has something else going for her, Carol said mischievously. Being a Violet Lantern, she knows about love and can tell that Dinah is in love. What do you mean? Inko asked, confused. She really is Izuku's mother, Carol thought. Ah, guys, it seems we have a problem, said Kara, looking at her phone. The girls are fighting with some villains. What? Come on, let's go help, Izuku shouted. Wonder Girl is cutting with her sword some giant roots that lifted cars to launch. Where are the others? Asked Green Lantern, creating a chainsaw and cutting the vines that were holding people hostage. This girl really moves, said Zatanna, casting spells at a girl who dodged them like a feline. How come they're here, are they from Gothic? Asked Batgirl, dodging a metal bat. Oh? What's up, Batsy, didn't you miss me? The girl with clown makeup and a metal bat asked mockingly. Girls, sorry for the delay, shouted the voice of Deku Dalton between the buildings and falling in front of a green girl scaring her. Who are they? Don't miss the trio of Gotham villains, Batgirl replied. Gothic? Great, other crazy people, said Supergirl sarcastically, coming down from the sky. Though their outfits are cute, said Star Sapphire. I'm sorry for the late introduction, said the girl in a tight black feline-style suit. I'm Catwoman, she said and launched herself at Wonder Girl. Call me Harley Quinn. Ha ha ha. The girl laughed, trying to hit Batgirl and Bumblebee. And I'm Poison Ivy, nice to meet you, human trash, the green girl calmly introduced herself to Deku. Now disappear, she said, and a root shaped like a fist hit him, throwing him a few meters. And together we are, said Harley. Girl gang, shouted the villains, jumping out of the fights and making a pose together. I got tired of fighting with villains in sexy outfits, said Green Lantern, somewhat blushing at the poses the villains were making. Me too, said Bumblebee. Thus continued the fight between the heroes and the villains. We have to do something about Poison Ivy. Her powers are keeping us from getting close to the others, Wonder Girl said. They are very well balanced and their teamwork is very good, said Megan. The best option is to separate them, said Deku. Wonder Girl, you, Bumblebee and Zatanna go against Catwoman, Green Lantern, Star Sapphire and Supergirl against Poison Ivy, Miss Martian and I will help Batgirl, he gave the order. The girls split up and each fought the villains. Harley Quinn tried to get lost in the alleys but Batgirl followed her very closely along with Miss Martian, who used her powers to the maximum to cross matter. Don't you get tired? Asked the villain angrily. Wait a minute, where is the green one? Right above you, Deku shouted, appearing above Harley and throwing her to the ground in a key. Well done, Deku. Congratulated Batgirl. You don't believe it's that easy, right? Harley asked with a smile. Ha 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 ha, smoke bomb. The villain shouted, taking a small ball out of her shorts that exploded into a curtain of smoke. Cough cough cough, did he escape? Batgirl asked in surprise. But if Deku had it, how? Miss Martian asked, and the two heroines saw Deku lying on the floor covering his crotch and gasping in pain. How? See, could it? Deku shouted. And so the boys ended up in Izuku's apartment after each of their enemies escaped. I can't believe they got away, Carol shouted. We had her in our hands and she just used that weird flower that released stinky gas. Ours used her black camouflage and went into a dark alley. When Zatanna illuminated it she was no longer there, said Donna. But none of them fared as badly as Izuku, said Kara, watching the green-haired boy being comforted by his mother. It's a very big weakness that all men have, Jessica said, slightly blushing. Those villains seem to be very good at teamwork, we must train more to be able to defeat them, said Donna, determined. I don't think you should overexert yourself, Inko said. Since you're here, girls, don't you want me to make you something to eat? She asked with a smile. With pleasure, Inko. They all responded with some drool over the great seasoning of their friend/interest/boyfriend's mother. Izuku was with Eri at Jessica's house to have dinner with her and her mothers. The green-haired boy was very nervous. Not only would it be a dinner but Jessica will introduce him as her boyfriend and Izuku will have to tell his mothers where he comes from and what relationship he has with Eri. Eri rang the doorbell of the house with the help of Izuku, who lifted her up. Jessica opened the door and let them in. It's great that you guys came. I know Eri likes apples, so for dessert, make an apple pie, said the Latina, making Eri drool. Sounds delicious, said Eri. You're trying really hard, Jessica, you shouldn't have bothered, said Izuku. It's no problem, Izuku, if it makes Eri happy, so does I. Besides, I want you and Eri to know that I can be an excellent cook, said Jessica, stroking Eri's head. Earlier that same day Jessica and Izuku confessed to Eri that she is also Izuku's partner along with the others. The albino just jumped to hug Jessica, who reciprocated with pleasure. Now Eri had, as she called them, 4 mommies who would take care of her and give her delicious desserts. I brought this as a gift, Izuku said, giving Jessica a bouquet of orchids. They are beautiful, Izuku, I will put them in a vase. Come in, my mothers are in the dining room, said Jessica, showing Izuku and Eri the way while she put the flowers in a vase with water. When Izuku entered the dining room he met Jessica's mothers. While Sarah seemed to greet him with a smile, Siobhan gave him an accusing look. Hello ladies, Cruz, it's a pleasure to see you again, said Izuku nervously. Come on honey, just call me Sarah, you don't have to be so formal, said Sarah, giving him a smile that calmed him down a little. Sarah hit Siobhan's side with her elbow. Why yes, Izuku can have confidence with a forced smile. Izuku just nodded, confused, and remembered that they didn't know Eri yet. Let me introduce you to Eri, he said, taking Eri out from behind his legs. Come on Eri, say hi. Hi, I'm Eri Midoriya, it's a pleasure, Eri said with a small bow. Aw, what a cute girl. Is she your little sister? Asked Sarah, delighted with her. Siobhan stood firm but the blush on her cheeks gave her away. Well about that you'll see. Izuku tried to explain his relationship with Eri without it sounding bad. When Jessica entered the dining room, come on family, dinner is served, she said, and winked at Izuku, who mentally thanked him for the help. In the middle of dinner, Sarah seemed to be the only one talking to Izuku, while Siobhan just nodded every now and then. And tell me, daughter, didn't you just invite Izuku so we could get to know him better, or did you? Siobhan asked, looking at Jessica. The truth is moms, I have something to confess, said Jessica and took Izuku's hand on the table, surprising her mothers who already knew where things were going. The reason I'm inviting Izuku and Eri is to tell them that, I'm dating him. Jessica's mothers seemed to be processing the information, when suddenly Sarah started to laugh a little. What's wrong, Mom? Jessica asked. And nothing, darling, it was just a little obvious that you were in love. Since you started this year at school, you came home happier and you saw yourself with that aura of a girl in love when you saw your cell phone. It was adorable to see you that way, said Sarah, making Jessica and Izuku blush. Was it really that obvious at home? Jessica asked with some embarrassment. You were, darling, but I'm glad you found love, especially with someone as good as Izuku, Sarah said, stroking her daughter's head. Siobhan seemed to still be processing everything when her wife gently poked her in the side. I'm happy for you, daughter, he said forcefully. Be honest, Sarah said, frowning. Siobhan sighed in defeat. The truth is that it's hard for me to accept that my little girl is growing up and now I find out that she has a boyfriend. The truth is I have nothing against Izuku, it just bothered me a little that my baby left the nest so quickly. Now he's just a boyfriend, but what will happen when they argue, when she cries for him, when she gets married and has her own family? That upsets me just thinking about it, she said with a few tears, and was hugged by her wife and daughter. Mom, I would never leave them. I will always be their little girl, and if Izuku and I fight, I know we can solve it alone, said Jessica, moved by her mother's words. I support you in everything, daughter. Izuku, you have my approval to be with my Jessica. I hope you take good care of her, said Siobhan. Izuku just smiled and nodded. Eri stood up in the chair with her arms in the air. Yes. Mom, Jessica can now spend more time with us, Dad, said Eri to Izuku, who just stood stiff as a statue along with Jessica. What does this mean? Siobhan shouted while Sarah watched everything with a slight smile. Okay, this will be complicated to explain, so pay attention, said Jessica, trying to get her mother to stop choking Izuku with the help of Sarah and Eri. So Izuku and Jessica told their situation together, how Eri ended up being Izuku's daughter, making the mothers feel bad for the little girl, also telling everything about how she ended up here. So yes, Eri is my adopted daughter, but I love her as much as if she were biological and I will never regret having her, Izuku finished, giving Eri a hug. So you know, moms, Izuku and Eri are not exactly from here, but now this is their home, said Jessica. I like it here, Mom. Jessica makes delicious apple pies, said Eri, eating a slice of pie. Wait, that means I'm a grandmother. Sarah celebrated, jumping up and down with excitement and taking Eri in a hug. Eri, from now on I'll also be your grandmother. I'll give you lots of presents and prepare delicious and nutritious meals for you. No. I've barely accepted that she has a boyfriend. I don't want her to be a mother so soon. Siobhan screamed. If that impressed you, you'd better sit down for what's next, Jessica said. In the following minutes, Jessica explained the shared relationship she has with the girls and Izuku. So my girl isn't enough for you? Siobhan screamed, being held back by her wife from committing something crazy against a scared Izuku. Calm down, Mom, I made the decision to be with him just like the others, said Jessica. But daughter, have you thought about marriage? I don't want you to have children outside of him, and polygamy relationships are frowned upon in this part of the world, said Sarah, still having a furious Siobhan. If that's the case, don't worry, Mom. Donna's sister explained to us that on the Amazon Islands, Izuku can sleep with us without restrictions. We'll just have to wait and see what the future holds, Jessica said. Not to get involved in this, but I like Jessica and the others too. It sounds bad, I know, but I can't imagine a life without them, said Izuku. And if they allow me, I know I'll make Jessica happy, I'll take care of her, and I'll respect her in everything. I know, said Sarah, it's just that it's weird, that's all, but it doesn't bother me particularly. I just ask that your first daughter be called Maria, said Jessica, blushing. I have no choice, right? My wife and daughter already love you, and I already gave you my blessing to be with Jessica, Siobhan said, calming down. But if my Jessica is emotionally hurt because of you, you can be sure that you will know my fury. Oh, of course, don't worry, said Izuku. Now that everything is clear, if you'll excuse me, said Siobhan, taking Eri in her arms and hugging her. Wow, I'm a grandmother now. And I'm barely in my 30s. I'll carry you with love. After what happened at Jessica's house, Izuku and Eri were in her apartment watching a movie with Inko. Grandma, where is Miss Lance? Asked Eri. She had some league business to attend to, remember she's a hero too, Inko said, eating chips. I feel like she forgets she's one, Eri said, taking a cookie. Don't eat too much Eri or else you won't be able to sleep, said Izuku. The Midoriya family went to sleep after the movie. Izuku was at school in art classes painting a Hal Jordan who offered himself as a model for no apparent reason, posing with a simple white sheet without any clothes, to the disgust of many, but strangely some girls did not care about that. Why do we have to do this? Lois said, somewhat disgusted. As much as I'd like not to, this is part of the grade for this subject, Izuku said. If it were you I wouldn't mind, but Hal Jordan, said Lois, blushing at Izuku. Behold the purest state of human perfection, Hal said smugly, making a few girls blush. Oh my god, I feel like my eyes are about to go blind, Lois said in disgust. Just hold on, Lois, just hold on, said Izuku. After art classes, Izuku met up with the girls during break. And that's what happened, Izuku finished telling the others. How disgusting, Hal really did that? Carol asked, feeling a little nauseous. He can't be more narcissistic, Jessica sighed, defeated by her Green Lantern companion. Luckily I don't have any classes with him, Z said, but that doesn't stop him from flirting with me. I really want to hit him when he does. And anyway, guys, what do you say? Are we going to have fun this coming weekend at the beach? Sun, sand, and sea so we can relax? Said Barbara, putting on some sunglasses. I love the idea, said Z, so I can show my swimsuit to Izuku. I already want to see his adorable face when I have it on. Beach, that means swimsuits. I'll have to get a more feminine one for myself, Kara thought with a small blush. I'll have to buy a new swimsuit, Carol said. How about we all go buy one? What a great idea, Carol, said Jessica. Can I invite the boys? Izuku asked. Sure, Wally and Garth are our friends too, so why not? Said Barbara. I'll go too, said Lois, coming out of nowhere, scaring everyone. You're not planning on going on a trip without me, are you? How did you do that? Megan asked, scared. I couldn't feel his presence. A trip to the beach? Barbie asked, appearing along with the trio of goth girls. I think I'll go too. You're mean, Babs, you're not inviting me, said Harleen, feigning sadness. I won't let the broccoli boy see you in a bathing suit alone. Wow, Izuku, you're very popular, aren't you? You're going to the beach with just girls, you should feel like a champion, Selena joked. The brunette has already had her conversations with the green-haired man a couple of times. Selena only saw Izuku as someone to bother when she feels bored, but in truth she sees him more as a friend. Selena, Izuku shouted, blushing. It's not fair, I'm supposed to have my eye on you and you go with others, said Barbie, trying to mark her territory. Hey, what's up? Izuku is mine, I mean ours, said Carol, making Izuku blush. So many girls fighting over the same guy is weird, Pamela said to Harleen. Izuku isn't a bad guy, but still, going alone as the only guy in the group to be surrounded by girls in swimsuits? And that's not it, besides I won't be the only boy, said Izuku. So it's decided we'll all go on a trip to the beach, said Lois. Can we each go buy our swimsuits? Harleen asked. You can go with us, friends, said Barbara. Your friends can too. What did I get myself into? Izuku wondered, seeing the girls like that. I'll be surrounded by pretty girls in swimsuits. The good thing is that Izuku will not be the only man. The bad thing is that the boy-girl ratio has a very large division, with only 3 boys against 13 girls, of which 4 of them are his partners. At Metropolis Beach, Izuku got off a bus with his friends/partners, and his daughter Eri, who was accompanied by Lena. I haven't been to the beach in years, Z said, stretching. I'm dying to swim. We should look for somewhere to change, said Karen, looking at the place. Daddy, let's play a little, said Eri, along with Lena, who also nodded. Well, while we get changed, you guys have some fun, said Donna. So the girls went to the locker room, while Izuku stayed with Eri and Lena making sand castles. And when will the others come? Asked Lena. According to Pamela, they will arrive later. They are doing something, said Izuku. While in Metropolis, the trio of Gotham villains robbed a swimsuit store and a roadside burger shop. You know, Izuku, I always wanted to go on a trip with friends. This is fun, said Lena. I'm glad you like it, Lena. You can come with us whenever you want, said Izuku, and the little blonde nodded. Look, Dad, a caramel apple stand, said Eri, pointing at the stand. With the girls leaving the locker room. Do you think Izuku will like them? Asked Carol, wearing a pink 2-piece swimsuit. He'll like it, he can't say no after all, said Lois, wearing a green 1-piece swimsuit with a DK on each side of her breasts. Your fanaticism is very great, said Barbara. I feel a little uncomfortable with this, Karen said with a small blush. Oh come on, you look so pretty, Karen said, Z complimenting her friend. Their swimsuits are very pretty and eye-catching, said Jessica. And why do you wear such a flirty one? Kara asked the magician. My cute bunny will like it, Z replied, whispering to the blonde. I struggled a lot to find a swimsuit that didn't ride up in the back, Jessica revealed, somewhat embarrassed. The disadvantages of having a big butt, Carol said, mocking her friend. Hey, that's offensive, you know, Jessica said. I just want to see if I can surf for a while, maybe I can even teach Eri? Said Kara. I don't think it's safe for her, Izuku told me that Eri can't swim well yet, said Donna. And when will Wally and Garth arrive? Asked Barbara. Wally is fast, he'll be right on time, while Garth said he'd come with someone, Donna replied. Yes. The girls, seeing father and daughter having fun like that, couldn't help but blush. They're not so cute together, said Z. You can say that, Donna replied. I want to have fun too. Barbara Lois shouted, running towards them. Wait girls, Karen shouted, running alongside the others. After a while of fun, Eri and Lena decided to go change. Wearing a light green one-piece swimsuit and a life jacket. And Lena a two-piece yellow with flowers. Keep going, Eri. You're almost there, said Kara, teaching Eri how to swim. You do it excellent, Lena. Jessica congratulated the blonde. Of course, this is nothing to me, I can learn anything, Lena said arrogantly. While Megan learned quickly and was now swimming at high speed. Guys, how are you? Wally along with Garth accompanied by Leslie, Doris, and Barbie. Oh guys, they're here, said Donna with a smile. Yes, but Hal also accompanied us, said Garth. What the what? Carol asked, somewhat annoyed. The jerk found out about the beach trip and came over, Barbie said, pointing her thumb behind her at Hal, who was flirting with some girls. We wanted to throw it away, but there was something about it that made us change our minds, Leslie said. And that thing was a big enough car, Doris said. So, where is Izuku? Barbie asked, looking for him with her eyes. He went for some ice cream, he'll be right back, Karen replied, hiding behind Donna. Wow, little friend, calm down, said the voice of Izuku, who was carrying a tray, preventing a dog from wanting to knock it over. What a great body, said Lois, blushing. If I wasn't hot before, now I am, said Barbie, fanning her red face with her hand. Oh? Hello guys, it's great that you're here, said Izuku, giving his ice cream to the girls with the others coming out of the water to try. Now with the new arrivals ready to swim. What do you think if we explore, guys? Wally asked, holding the scuba gear. That sounds good, let's do it, said Izuku. I don't need that equipment, I can naturally breathe underwater, Garth said. Hey Izuku, what do you think of my swimsuit? Barbie asked. You look good, Izuku replied. I'm glad you like it, said the girl. I'll go with the others. When you're free, we can talk for a while. Sure, said Izuku. What was that? Hal Jordan asked, coming out behind the boys, scaring them. Dude, a cutie asks you for your opinion on how she looks and you just tell her you look good, Hal said, imitating Izuku's voice. Well, I think it looks good, said Izuku, scratching his cheek. But that's not the point is that you have to tell her things, like, you look amazing babe, I can't find words for your beauty or something like that, said Hal. I'm sure I can help her, girl is depressed and will look for comfort in someone else if you tell her those things. But Barbie was blushing at Izuku's words, ignoring the compliments from the local boys. That will surely happen, believe me, I understand, girl, said Hal. But Wally and Garth were behind him, flatly denying it. How about we go diving now? Izuku asked. Down at sea, the friends, plus Hal, were exploring, with Garth being the only one who didn't need scuba gear. Wally was swimming next to a school of fish, while Izuku was watching a crab fight, and Hal. Well, the brown-haired boy was looking under the girls in bikinis without being noticed. Why did we bring him? Wally asked, signing to the others. I have no idea, he just put on his gear and jumped, Izuku replied with the signs. But the boys did not notice a shadow moving with great speed in the distance. On the surface, Lena and Eri were burying the rotten Karen, who was a little scared. Gee girls, don't do this, Karen said. Calm down, Karen, nothing bad will happen to you, said Eri. Girls are so funny, said Barbara, making a sculpture of the bat badge. Babs, yelled Harleen, pulling her friend. Harleen, Barbara shouted, hugging her friend. Have you started with the ridiculousness? Asked Pamela. Wow girls, what nice swimsuits, said Barbara. I know right? Look, we are twins, said Harleen. And where is Selena? Barbara asked. She's buying the shaved ice for us, Pamela replied. While with Selena, the brunette was leaning against the counter of the shaved ice shop. Wow, it's so hot in here, huh? Selena asked flirtatiously as she fanned her chest with a menu. I'd give anything for something cold, anything Tilda. Sure, miss, replied the store manager, blushing, unable to take his eyes off the brunettes. Behind her a raft sank without anyone noticing. This is so much fun. Celebrated Erie riding Kara's surfboard. Isn't it exciting, Erie? Asked Kara, moving with the waves. My turn. Donna stepped over Kara, passing her with her board. This isn't safe, Lena yelled, clutching Donna's tablet. The other girls were either sunbathing or just relaxing, like Jessica, who was reading a romance novel, or Z, who just lay face down. Carol, on the other hand, only dedicated herself to sharing photos of Izuku with Lois. Doris was in the nanny's gym lifting weights, while Leslie looked around for someone. But all activity on the beach stopped when a yacht crashed into the lifeguard post. Luckily no one was hurt, when people recovered from the shock. Ah! A monster! A woman from the crowd screamed, and giant tentacles emerged from the water. Everyone walk faster, shouted the lifeguards, pulling the people out of the water. Donna and Kara left and went to find a safe place for the little ones. While Izuku and company flew out and crashed into the lifeguard tent. How is it possible that no one saw that thing? Asked Wally. It took us by surprise, said Izuku. I can't communicate with that thing, it's useless, said Garth. OMG. Guys don't know what we have here? Giant tentacles and girls in bikinis, it only means one thing, get your cameras, Hal shouted. The monster has someone, Wally shouted. Luckily for the girl, Wonder Girl made an appearance by cutting off a tentacle of the sea creature. Supergirl, take the civilians away. Wonder Girl shouted. Understood. So the Supergirl with her great speed took and put the civilians in a safe place. I always wanted to say this, Young Justice attack. Wonder Girl shouted. And the girls along with Giantess and High Voltage attacked the creature's tentacles. We have to help them, said Izuku. The boys just nodded at one who did so reluctantly, putting the bed away. I hate tentacles. Star Sapphire shouted, launching a burst of explosive hearts. Just focus on defeating him, said Green Lantern, creating chains trying to immobilize the tentacles. It's impossible to immobilize, said Wonder Girl. Every time she cut a tentacle another one grew out. Where did this thing come from? Asked Supergirl, hitting the creature. No idea, said Batgirl. Should we help them? Asked Pamela, seeing everything in this safe place. Nah. They are our enemies, so let's just watch them lose, said Harleen. Wow, there are a lot of them, said Selena, looking at the large number. We're in danger and you just want to take pictures? Asked an annoyed Barbie who had Lois, who wanted to go to the center of the scoop. Your dad wasn't supposed to show up yet? Lena asked Erie. He must be about to make his entrance, said Erie. Smaz, Deku shouted, giving a powerful blow to a tentacle, exploding it in the process. Yuck, how disgusting, Deku said, covered in purple slime. That's disgusting, old man, said Aqualad. That really stinks, said Kid Flash, covering his nose. Stop talking and fighting, shouted the Giantess. So the group prepared to fight the creature. With Batgirl and Bumblebee distracting the creature while Star Sapphire and Wonder Girl cut off the tentacles without any success as they grew back. Supergirl tried to burn it with her vision, but the creature seemed to regenerate. High Voltage rose above the creature to electrocute it, but it seems that it did not affect it much, grabbing the girl and throwing it, but she was caught by the Giantess. How the hell are we going to beat them if they recover instantly? Asked an annoyed High Voltage. I wish I had Majin Buu's weakness, so we just have to make him explode so much that he can't regenerate, said Aqualad, and the whole team looked at him. Did I say something wrong? Not at all, my friend, you gave me an idea, said Deku. I'll take care of making it explode enough, you destroy the pieces. So Deku charged a blow with his 100% to the creature. Delaware Detroit Smash, Deku shouted, hitting him, taking him out of the water and exploding him. Okay guys, take care of the monster pieces, said Wonder Girl. So the group eliminated all the creature's heavyweights with the Green Lanterns, enclosing them in energy spheres that were then incinerated by High Voltage and Star Sapphire, Zatanna only used her hat and sucked the pieces of the creature while Batgirl took a small one as a sample, as did Bumblebee. Returning to the metropolis from a hectic day at the beach, Izuku was in his apartment resting. Today was a crazy day, he said, closing his eyes from tiredness. On the other side of town. And what do you think of the daughter city? Asked a man in a suit and an eye patch. Sounds good to me, Dad, but why are we moving so suddenly? A young woman asked. Business, daughter, it's just business, the man replied, seeing a folder with the image of Deku. Izuku was with Eri helping her with her homework, while Inko was preparing dinner with Dinah. Guys, food is ready, put everything away, Dinah warned, taking off her apron. We're going, said Eri, thanks for helping me, Dad. Izuku smiled at her and rubbed the white-haired girl's head. It's nothing, Eri, whenever you need help with your homework let me know, said the green-haired man. So the family settled down to eat while Eri told what happened on the beach. Inko said she got a promotion at work because she was the most sought after for fashion opinions and help, although that has nothing to do with selling clothes, so the green-haired girl is just one step away from becoming a manager. Dinah just said that Diana has a surprise that she will tell in a few weeks and wants everyone to be there. The next morning at Metropolis School, Izuku met Barbara and they decided to go to school together. So I tell him drop the gun and he says why don't you try it? So I do a somersault and throw a batarang and hit the gun and he dropped it, and when that happened I hit him in the face and bang. He fell to the ground. The redhead finished telling what happened in Gotham City when she still lived there. It's a great story, said Izuku. When the two friends looked in front of them they found a girl who seemed lost. Excuse me, are you lost? Barbara asked. Oh? If I can't find the way to Metropolis High School, said the girl, I'm Rose, by the way. I'm Barbara Gordon, the redhead introduced herself cheerfully, and this is my friend Izuku Midoriya. It's a pleasure, Izuku greeted. Are you Japanese? Your English is very good, I can hardly notice the accent, Rose said. Let's just say the English classes I had paid off, Izuku said, smiling. You're in luck, Rose. We're going to that school. Do you want to join us? Barbara asked. I would really appreciate it, said the silver-haired girl. So the three boys went to school. With Izuku and Barbara after school, the duo was helping a girl get her cat down from a tree. Have fun, little one, stay safe and sound, Barbara gave the cat to the girl who thanked them and left smiling. That was amazing, Rose's voice said, surprising the two. When Izuku and Barbara turned around they found the silver-haired girl. Rose. What's up? Said Barbara. I'm fine, thanks again for helping me this morning, Rose said with a smile. You don't have to thank me, it was a pleasure to help you, Rose said Izuku. And that's why I was looking for you, Rose said, and Barbara and Izuku made confused expressions. Why were you looking for us? Are you in trouble? Barbara asked. Nothing like that, I just wanted to invite you to my house for dinner for the help you gave me, also since I'm new here I wanted to make friends, said Rose. Izuku and Barbara looked at each other and smiled. We would love to, they said in unison. A few hours later at night, James Gordon offered to take Izuku to Rose's house as well. Are you sure it's here? Asked the man, seeing a mansion. It's the address Rose gave us, Barbara said, looking at the address on her cell phone. Do you think he made a mistake? Izuku asked, but the door to the mansion was opened by Rose, who greeted the boys. It's great that you're here, guys. Rose greeted. Come in. Well, it seems that if it is here, I will look for them later, said James. So the boys were already at the door of the mansion along with Rose. Wow, Rose, your house is so big, said Barbara. And where are your parents? Izuku asked. Dad is in the kitchen and I don't have mom, said Rose. Oh? I'm sorry, said Izuku. No problem, said Rose. So the boys went to the dining room where there was a man with an eye patch setting the table. Dad, my new friends have arrived, Rose said and hugged the man. That's good, Rose. Why don't you and your friends sit down while I watch how the first dish goes? Said the man. Nice to meet you, Mr. Rose's dad, said Barbara. Call me Slade, Miss Gordon, my daughter told me that you helped her when she was lost, thank you for that, said the man, and then he saw Izuku. Hello sir, my mother told me that you can't come to someone else's house without offering something, and that's why I brought this, giving a bottle of wine to the man. 1967? Good harvest, thank you young Midoriya, said Slade. So the man went to the kitchen, leaving the three boys alone at the table. Your dining room is very luxurious, Barbara said, looking at the place. I feel like just being here increases my monetary value. It's nothing, But, thanks, said Rose. And what does your father do? Izuku asked, and Rose got nervous for a few moments. Well, he is a stockbroker, Rose said. Stockbroker? Barbara asked, and Rose nodded. Are you also a hunter in your free time? I saw a lot of hunting-related stuff in the living room. He likes hunting, Rose said. I thought your father would be something of a military man. His posture and muscle definition don't look like a stockbroker's, and his eye patch I can tell is from a stove of a knife, said Izuku. Without noticing that with each word Rose seemed to tense up. Well, he left the army, but he was the best, he was even decorated with medals, said Rose. Your father sounds like someone great, Barbara said. By the way, where is the bathroom? Down the second-floor hallway, third door on the left, Rose said. With that, Barbara left the table. And while the redhead was not there, Izuku began to listen to Rose's stories in her old city. PSSS Izuku PSSS Barbara's whisper caught the boy's attention. I think Barbara is calling you for something? Rose said. Yes, I'll go see what he needs. I'll be right back, said Izuku. In the room, Izuku was with a barbarian who kept walking in circles. What's up, Babs? Asked the green-haired man. Izuku, I think Rose's father isn't a runner? Barbara said. What makes you say that? Izuku asked. When I came out of the bathroom I found an open door and couldn't help but look through it, and when I did I found a room full of firearms and knives, said Barbara. Rose said he's a hunter, they could be hunting weapons, said Izuku. Izuku, the caliber of those weapons was not for hunting. I had everything from revolvers to AK-47s, and those are not for hunting. Tell me what hunter would have katanas and kunais? Said Barbara. That sounds suspicious, but how do we find out more? Izuku asked. Guys, Daddy's back, the first dish is ready, Rose announced, appearing in the living room. Okay, Rose, we'll go right away, said the smiling barbarian. So in the dining room, Slade brought plates of sushi. Being Japanese, I decided to prepare one of their typical dishes. When I was on a trip to Japan, they taught me how to prepare it, said Slade. It looks delicious, Dad, Rose said, using chopsticks. It's very tasty. Thank you, daughter, said the man, then looked at the two guests with a complex expression. Why aren't you eating? That's what we'll do, we just want to appreciate the dish more, said Barbara. After the first course, Slade left the dining room, which Barbara took advantage of and with an excuse left too. Izuku, I thank you and Barbara for coming. I hope we become good friends at school, said the girl. Sure, Rose said. Izuku, hey, your dad mentioned that he went to Japan, right? Has he gone to those other places? I'm not sure, but he's traveled the world a lot, Rose said. Between talking and laughing, Izuku and Rose got to know each other better, having many things in common such as a fanaticism for superheroes and training. A strange thing that Izuku noticed was that the girl seemed to have a muscular deduction specialized in martial arts combat. When Barbara arrived, she took Izuku and took him to the living room under the gaze of a surprised Rose. What's going on, Barbara? Did you find out anything? Izuku asked. Izuku, we have to go, said Barbara, and proceeded to tell Izuku what she found. It turns out that the redhead found a button in Slade's study that opened a secret door, and in that room she found a suit very completed by all the superheroes and a computer with Deku's files, but the worrying thing was that it had them from Izuku and his family and friends. He's a mercenary, the worst of all, he's Deathstroke, said Barbara. Here you are, young people, why don't you join me in the dining room for the main course of the evening, said Slade, mysteriously appearing without making a sound. Sure, Barbara said nervously. So the boys, under Slade's menacing gaze, ate the main dish prepared by the villain. It's delicious, sir, said the nervous Izuku. Thank you, I put a lot of effort into preparing it, said the man. It seemed that the only one who didn't notice the heavy atmosphere was Rose herself, who was eating the happiest thing in the world. After eating, the man brought a tray full of brownies. How about dessert? Do you know the brownie tastes better with some ice cream from the same place I grew up with? Dear Rose, why don't you go to the winery and get the ice cream? Said the man. What a great idea, Dad, I'll be right back, said the girl, leaving the room. Under the silence that was present, Slade looked at the two teenagers while playing with the fork in his hands. You know, I went to my studio and I was surprised to find someone was going through my things. Who do you think it was? The man asked. When I fix that, I throw the fork so barbarously that I quickly use a plate to block it with the fork sticking into the. Barbara crawled under the table and came out in her Batgirl costume. How did you do that? Izuku asked, surprised. Slade also crawled under the table and came out in his Deathstroke outfit. How do they do that? You have to teach me barbarously, said Izuku. So Deathstroke and Batgirl along with Izuku had a strange confrontation in the dining room, throwing plates at the mercenary who only cut everything in front of him with his sword. When he already had Izuku in his sights, he took out his revolver ready to shoot. But an ice cream scoop hit his hand, causing him to drop his gun. When Deathstroke and the heroes turned around, they saw Rose with her arm outstretched and tears in her eyes. Rose, she's not what she seems, said Deathstroke. You said you wouldn't do this anymore, you told me you would leave it forever, said Rose, trying to hold back her tears, and then she looked at Batgirl and Izuku. Is that why you didn't want them to come until I told you their names? E2, I think this is a tense moment, right? Izuku asked. Dad, tell me, will you ever leave this? Rose asked. Daughter, this was supposed to be my last job, Slade said, taking off his mask. But they are my friends, you can't just get rid of them, Rose cried with tears. Rose, as you wish, I'll leave them, don't be like this anymore, but don't cry, said the man hugging his daughter. I'm sorry Izuku, Barbara, sorry about tonight. Don't worry, we understand, more or less, said Batgirl. It seems we have to go, right? Said Izuku. I'll call my dad to come get us, said Batgirl. Already at the entrance, the three teenagers were saying goodbye. I'm sorry about everything that happened tonight, guys, Rose said, hugging Barbara and Izuku. Don't worry Rose, we're fine, said Barbara. I'll see you at school another day, Rose, Izuku said. And James arrived to pick them up. The next day in Izuku's room, the Z was reading his spell book. Are you sure there is one to make my plant healthy? Jessica asked. Of course there is, it's a restoration, it will make it go back to how it was before, said Z. I wouldn't trust magic too much, said Kara. Z is amazing, I'm sure she can do it, Karen said. Jess, next time you can just leave the plant in the care of others when you have to go out and do environmental protests, said Carol. The girls were in Izuku's room, each doing what they wanted. Like Donna watching TV with Barbara, or Carol doing her makeup and Megan just looking at her curiously. While Kara was with Izuku listening to music. I think I've found it, well, let's see, direct our attention to the Aruwatsu. Z sang with her wand when a purple light shot into the silver, making it fully alive again. It worked, Jessica said. Of course he did, said Z, but his wand continued to emit light that shot at Karen. Scaring everyone, but the wand kept shooting, this time at Jessica, Kara, and Izuku. Z quickly dropped his wand and stopped shooting. What did you do? Carol yelled at Z. Hey girls, I think we have a problem, said Megan. The others saw where she looked, finding child versions of her friends. W, where am I? W, what is this place? Asked a scared Kara about 5 years old, grabbing the first thing in front of her to hug. Being an Izuku about 5 years old who was just as scared. Mommy, cried a little 4-year-old Karen. Wow, 2 of me, cried a 5-year-old Jessica. I think we have the most adorable problem in the world, Donna said, blushing at the tenderness. How cute. Carol squealed.